So I'm right here in the backyard, and there are always multiple projects going on. This is the dually John Deere. I just got that one put together. There's my barrel pontoon boat. In the back, that's a truck. That's supposed to be truck bed trailer number 4 with an S10. That's the daughter's Avion camper. We've been fixing that up. And right now I want to work on this. I've got this John boat. I just put this engine on it. This engine I picked up about a year ago. It was on Facebook Marketplace for $100. I dropped it. And then they messaged me back. You can have it for free. We're moving. So I went and got it. It's been sitting out in the field for about a year in the rain, and it's not froze up. But I don't have all the pieces to put it back together, so I want to pull this engine off, make an adapter, put a Briggs on it. I've got a John Deere with a Briggs ready to go on it. Once we pull it off, clean the carburetor, build an adapter, we'll have homemade boat motor number, I'm losing count, it'll be homemade boat number 5, 4 of them that I built, 1 of them that I bought. Anyway, that's this project. So here you can see where the tiller handle got broke off. Don't care about it. The good news is it tilled it up really easy. Make it easy to get to these bolts. That's our next step. So about an hour ago, it was stormy looking. It was starting to rain. I thought it was going to rain the rest of the day. Anyway, in that hour, I've got the engine loose. I've got to cut this gas line. It should all fall free. I'll probably get the crankshaft out and cut it off like we did the last one. That way we'll have an adapter for this shaft here. If you look, there was a hole here. Somebody had filled that in with some putty, and the tiller handle broke. This one's had a rough life. So here it is, a little update time. There's the power head. I think the process now is to clean it up. I might take it off, turn it upside down, see if any pieces fell in there. This is shifter parts. Something must have fallen off that, went down into the bottom. Get that back, put the shifter back together. Anyway, I was thinking it was an Evinrude, possibly a Johnson. If you look here, it says Gale. I better go do a little research, see if Evinrude bought out Gale. It says from Illinois. And so when I turned the foot upside down, these 2 pieces fell out. Where'd that bolt come from? I don't know. And that's just part of the case that cracked off. Anyway, now it's really hard to turn. And in my head, I'm thinking probably dried out water pump all up in there. Next step might be take that water pump apart. All right, I've got 1 bolt left. You can be just as surprised as I am when we get this open. More metal chunks. More metal chunks. That's my shifter parts. That's what I'm looking for. We'll take the water pump housing apart next. See what's going on in there. So I made it into where the water pump lives. Water pump looked like somebody just changed the impeller. It looks good. Don't need it. Anyway, there's the housing. I'm gonna bolt that back on. Everything turns easy now. If we're backing up, put it forward. There's even a neutral in there. Spins easy. Mission accomplished. There is the engine with the crankshaft torn out of it. Crankshaft is up here on the drive shaft. We'll cut it right about here. Somehow put a Lovejoy in there. Start putting it all back together. And I'll show you the engine I'm thinking about using. 19.5 Briggs & Stratton single cylinder. Free parts mower. Goes good with free butt motor. So I just came back from the metal store. I got some scraps. This is 12 by 12. This is 12 by 12, just the right thickness. 1 bolts to the motor, 1 bolts to the foot. Cut a hole. And this, I think I can cut 4 pieces out of it. So I put some tires and wheels on the back of the John Deere, and I aired the front tires. It could be a good rat rod mud mower now. But I need the engine, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. This is just for looks. So I've got the mower pulled up into the shop. It's in the shade. We're out of that Florida hot sun. The hood is off. Next time you see it, the engine will be off. So it's been about 15 minutes, and the engine is now on my chair. I have installed the solenoid. I got to find a key switch. I'll probably use this throttle. And what I'm thinking is cut straight across here, unbolt it there, make a cut back there. Use this to bolt the engine to the foot. So I've got the mower all stripped down, ready to get that plate, and I'm postponed by rain. There's the extra parts. Here's the engine. There's the dash. Anyway, next goal, get that plate off. Where we are now, this is off the mower. This is what the engine bolts to. The foot is here. I've got to drill some holes in this to mount this to the foot. I got to drill a hole for the drive shaft to go through. I probably need to run town now and get 4 bolts to mount this to that, and I need to get a Lovejoy coupler. The engine is there on the stool. Here working on the boat motor, I'm in the garage. We're getting some side effect heavy rains from Hurricane Elsa. Anyway, last night on the boat motor, I got this plate, the hole cut, these 2 holes drilled, and right now I'm marking to drill 2 more holes. That's this one and one on the other side. So the rain is getting harder. I hear the road is getting flooded. We better hurry and get this boat motor finished. Anyway, up next we're going to build the adapter, turn the drive shaft into a Lovejoy. It's a 1-inch shaft, it's a 1-inch hole. I'm going to cut it off, weld it together. The rain is still coming down super hard, and I've got this adapter halfway welded up. I'm going to flip it over, we'll weld around one time, we'll call it done. This is what it looks like now. I'm going to clean it up, then we'll go do a test fit. So the rain continues, the water is rising. I've got Frankenstein up here on the table saw. I've got me 4 bolts. Here's my Lovejoy, the rubber biscuit that goes in between, and my drive shaft adapter Lovejoy. I've got to now slide everything in place, make a measurement, and start cutting my square stock. I've got the engine shaft pushed into the Lovejoy. When I measure, I'm looking at about 5 inches from the bottom of the engine to the plate. My bolts are 6 inches long. That should be pretty much perfect. I'm going to take the motor mount from the mower, bolt it to the bottom of the engine. There's 3. The 4th is going to have to be angle iron. Another square stock. So I just drilled out the 4 holes for the 6-inch bolts in the top plate. Now I'm going to drill the holes in this bottom plate. I've already got them marked. Then we can start putting it together. So I've got the motor mount all welded together now. I like it. It's ready to go. Up next I want to clean it up and paint it, but I don't think I want to paint in this kind of weather. And I need to go to the hardware store and get some nuts for these bolts. So I'm going to recycle these and get the tape bolted together. Oh, and I do need to do something with this shifter. I got to drill out this hole bigger and make some kind of custom shifter. So one hold up on putting this engine together, my shifter rod, this is stainless steel, but years and years of exhaust blowing on it has rotted it away. So I took a rod off of a lawnmower, I made a little groove. I'm going to replace the crappy one with this one. So I just hit the Lovejoy and the motor mount with some self-etching primer. As soon as it dries, we'll put some real paint on there. Just hit the motor mount with some John Deere green. A little bit of high temperature black on the bottom. The foot has been primed. It's now time for some ivory gloss. So the rain we had yesterday is gone. It's all hot and sunny today. I moved the motor back out to the boat. Finished painting it out here. I'm going to build it out here. The motor mount is now in place. I got all the bolts in. All the bolts are tight. The shifter is in. Forward, reverse. So I've got the engine sitting here. I've just got this freed up where it turns now. Put a little grease in there, and the more we use it, the better it's going to be. Anyway, it's time to set the motor in place. Okay, I've got the engine sitting in place. I like the way it looks, but we're at a standstill. I don't have a key for the Lovejoy. Anyway, we'll get that probably tomorrow. I need to clean the carburetor. We got to decide if we want a tiller handle or if we want to do a steering wheel. I got to hook up the solenoid, make some kind of key switch, get the gas line hooked up. We'll be good to go. So I just came back from the store. I've got 4 keys to go into the crankshaft / Lovejoy. Also got the cover that goes over the shifter adjustment hole. It's almost the same color, just needs to be painted. We'll get that put on, we'll get that key put in, then we got to start starting it. I've also got these 6-inch grade 8 bolts. I was using it to hold this together while I was welding it. I don't think they need to be in there, but I can store them in there until I need them for something else. That might be a little bit hard to get the nut on, but we'll try. So I just cleaned out the old carburetor. It was not dirty, but it did have old gas in it. Now it's time to put it back on, see if this thing runs. It should run. The carburetor is all the way back on. It's time now to get the gas can and the battery. We're going to test it. The gas hose is all hooked up. It's time to pump it up. So the engine now has gas, the battery's hooked up, the solenoid is halfway hooked up. I'm going to jump it out with a screwdriver. I have no kill switch, the throttle's not hooked up, but I can't wait. Let's see, that would be wide open. That would be idle.